Hello, and welcome back to my channel. Chris the Frugal Audiophile with you here again today. And in this video, I want to go through, as you probably saw in the title there, 7 of my favorite recent vinyl pickups. So I will do these from my, I don't know if you want to say least favorite, but from my less favorite to my most favorite. I've picked up quite a few vinyl records over the past few months, and all 7 of these are some of my favorites that I have gotten in those 7 months. And so even though this one right here is perhaps not my most favorite, it still is of all of the records in the top 7. And so here we have Steve Wariner, One Good Night Deserves Another. Now, I had never heard of Steve Wariner before. He is an 80s country star, and if you're at all familiar with that type of music, you would recognize that style in his music right away. Now, the cool thing about this record is I actually got it in a random lot of country vinyl that I purchased on eBay for like $20. I think I got 10 or 12, something like that, country vinyl albums, and this was one of them in that lot. There were some others that I did enjoy, but not as much as this one right here. And so some standouts on this album include Heart Trouble, What I Didn't Do, and Your Love's Got a Hold on Me. These are some of my favorite tracks, although there are several good ones on this album here. Steve Wariner, and this album is really a hidden gem that I was not familiar with, and I am glad to have received this in that random vinyl lot, and probably will pick up some more Steve Wariner albums. Next we have, in the number 6 slot, is Henry Mancini, Mancini Magic. Now, if you know anything about Henry Mancini, he is an expert musical arranger and producer, and so anything from him is going to be really good, but I particularly enjoyed this album. So this album was actually given to me by a friend for me to see if it's something that we could sell on eBay, but I've decided that I'm going to keep it and just pay him what it's selling for on eBay, which is around $5-6. So it's not a hugely valuable album, but it is an excellent 2-disc collection of Henry Mancini tunes. Not only that, but the recording on this album was done very well, and it is an excellent sounding vinyl. Another thing I like about it is, since it's a 2-disc, you have a nice gatefold here, and I'm always a big fan of a gatefold. I just think they're very cool. So for me, some standouts on this album are the theme from The Great Inspector, Tequila, Tiger, and The Second Time Around. All excellent choices. There is a lot of beautiful tunes on this album. None of them are disappointing at all. So that's Henry Mancini in the 6th slot. Next, at number 5, is Philharmonic, Masters in Philadelphia. Now, if you're thinking of your typical Philharmonic album that is, classical music, although the tunes on this are classically written to begin with, they are rearranged in a more modern style, and I would say that it really has a lot of jazz and kind of funk style to it. There's some saxophones and some other brass instruments, along with some nice guitar licks in this album. And so what the Philharmonic did here was take some of those well-known tunes and rearrange them, and they really did an excellent job of that. The composers on this album are fantastic. The music is beautiful, and the quality of this vinyl is excellent as well. I was not expecting that from an older album like this. This also was given to me by my friend, and he was wondering if it's something that could be sold on eBay. Also, I think I'm going to keep this one as well and give him, the $5, $6, $7 that it's worth, and keep it for myself because it's just a beautiful album. A few standouts on this are the very popular Für Elise, but it is not perhaps an arrangement you are familiar with. There's also the 1812 Overture. I really enjoyed that one. It's an amazing sounding piece, a very grandiose sounding piece of music, of course, as the 1812 Overture would be. Also, there's one called Lullaby. I really enjoy it. It's a softer song, but still a very beautiful song. And then there is a piano concerto by Tchaikovsky that is excellent as well. But really, all the tracks on this album are excellent. So that's number 5, Philharmonic, Masters in Philadelphia. And in the number 4 slot, we have Chicago, Hot Streets. Now, I've never heard of this Chicago album before, if you've ever looked at Chicago's discography, a lot of their albums are, numbered 1 through, I think they go up like 13 or 14, something like that. But this one is actually given a title of Hot Streets, and I've never heard of it, but I saw it on a pick and choose lot on eBay, and I had to pick it up. And I am glad that I did, because this is an awesome album that I really enjoy. It's quickly becoming one of my new favorite Chicago albums. Some standouts on here for myself are Hot Streets, Alive Again, also Ain't It Time. But all the tracks on this album are excellent. They just have that classic Chicago sound that we all know and love. So that's another standout in the number 4 slot, Chicago Hot Streets. In the number 3 slot is Reckless by Bryan Adams. Now, I've been a huge Bryan Adams fan since I was really a teenager, maybe even a young kid there as well. Summer of '69 is a longtime classic song. And of course, it is included on this album, but more about that in a minute. So also, one thing I love about this album is that the copy I have here is in excellent condition, as is the vinyl. There's hardly a scratch on it. It plays just beautifully and it looks awesome. So this is another standout. I've got this on eBay in another pick and choose lot. I think the same lot where I got that Chicago album I just showed you. So I'm very happy with the copy that I have here. So of course, some standouts for me are Heaven, Summer of '69, and Kids Wanna Rock. I know that maybe in his later years or various times, Bryan Adams ventured more into the pop rock sound, but if you listen to the tracks on this album, he is really a rocker at heart. That is what I really appreciate about Bryan Adams. Yeah, his soft rock ballads are great, but his rock songs are punchy, hard-hitting, and excellent. So that is Reckless by Bryan Adams in the number 3 slot. In the number 2 slot, we have Tapestry by Carole King. Now, like Bryan Adams, I've been a fan of Carole King for many years. Of course, we all know her iconic song, Where You Lead, from the show Gilmore Girls, but she has so many other amazing songs outside of that one as well. However, it is included on this album here. And I think many would agree that Tapestry is a masterpiece. Almost every song on this album is beautifully written and performed. Maybe they're not all ones that you will know, but they all are worth a listen and excellent songs. Some standouts would include So Far Away, Home Again, Where You Lead, and one of my favorites, Smack Water Jack. But that is just a few of the many tracks on this album that are awesome. A couple of hits off this that are not necessarily my favorites, but are still good songs, are Will You Still Love Me Tomorrow and Natural Woman. Those are probably tracks that most people will recognize, ones that I enjoy, but not as much as the standouts that I mentioned above. For me, Carole King is the singer-songwriter genre at its best, and Tapestry is the epitome of that. So that is Tapestry by Carole King in the number 2 slot. So what's gonna make number 1? It's gonna be Born in the USA by Bruce Springsteen. A very popular, iconic album, probably one of the best-selling rock albums of all time. Also some iconic album artwork here for you. Sorry if it's a little bit awkward, but as you know, this is a very iconic album and one of the most popular of all time. So some standouts on this album for myself are Bobby Jean, No Surrender, Glory Days, Dancing in the Dark, of course, Born in the USA, and another one that I really enjoy is My Hometown. But there are some other awesome tracks as well on this album. Actually, side B on this album, almost every track on that is amazing. It just plays through as an 80s rock masterpiece. If you don't have this in your collection, you love The Boss, you love 80s rock, I highly recommend this album. I know many don't really care for the song Born in the USA for its controversial political nature, but there are so many other excellent tracks on this album that it can be easily overlooked. So there you have it. That's 7 of my favorite recent vinyl pickups. What do you think? Are these some of your favorites too? Did you Did you see something that you think you would like to pick up and add to your vinyl collection? Be sure to put that down in the comments below. And if you like this kind of content, be sure to subscribe to my channel, hit that bell notification so you know when I upload new videos. Thank you so much for watching, and God bless.